peeps, Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor and the host of We Need to Talk with Chris Godinez. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. If you feel you need a therapist, please go to Google, type in therapy, your city, Psychology Today will pop up, click on that, and it will have therapists in your area. Also, the views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other damn therapist for that matter. Boom, shakalaka, done. All righty then. So I want to say a ginormous thank you to all of the people that showed up Friday night at Changing Hands. It was awesome, and I was very honored and very humbled by how many people showed up, and thank you, thank you, thank you. And great questions, guys, truly great questions. It was so fun to meet you guys, and yes, I'm a hugger, so when I meet you, I will hug you, so just be prepared. So there that is. So thanks, you guys, for coming out, and thank you for buying the book, and it was just a great night. So on that note, let me let you know about my next appearance. It will be, where am I? It will be in Atlanta on April 21st and 22nd. So on April 21st, I will be at Postman Books, and I would like to thank Mark Stiles for that. He was awesome. He asked me to come out, and I was very honored about that. And also at Tall Tale Books. So what I will be doing is I will be sending some books ahead of time, so you can go buy them ahead of time if you so choose. I will not necessarily be doing a lecture there, but if y'all come in and say hi to me, I'm happy to chit chat with you, because, you know, I'm there, you're there, we might as well talk. What the hell? We need to talk, you know, it's a thing. So we'll do that. So that would be awesome. So those are the two places I'll be at. If you want to know where to go to find information on that, go to Eventbrite. Eventbrite. You type in Eventbrite, Atlanta, Chris Godinez, and it will have all of the information that you need to know. Hi guys. Oh my goodness. Hello. So it will be in Atlanta at Postman Books and at Tall Tale Books. And then the lecture I am doing is going to be in, oh God, say it right, Chris, say it right. Smyrna, Georgia, at the Civic Center, the Community Center in Smyrna, Georgia. All of that information is on Eventbrite, Atlanta, Chris Godinez. That's how you can find all of that stuff. And I am so looking forward to seeing you guys. Okay, so today's topic. Hi guys. Wow. Good to see you all. Okay. Hi, Nevada. So today's topic is, and this is something we talked about on Friday night, and I did not touch enough on it because I wanted to touch more on it. So abusers love to erase the target of abuse. The target of abuse loses completely who they are. I got it right, Smyrna. Oh, yay. So thank you. Because people were like, you know, pronunciation, and I'm like, oh, thank God, because I just don't know. Anyway, I'm so looking forward to it. I love Georgia. Georgia is like my favorite state because it's like the food. Oh my God, I love the food, and I love the architecture, and I love the old houses, and because you guys have the old stuff and Arizona doesn't, and so I just really, I love all that. Okay, sorry, squirrel. All right, so what abusers like to do is they like to erase us. They do. They replace us with them. So remember, the thing of it is, and people were like, okay, why, how does this happen? I don't understand. So when you're dealing with an abuser, remember the abuser does not know who they are either, okay? And we know who we are a little bit more than they do. And so they must have everyone agree with them on everything. So for example, you get with an abuser, and again, I'm going to use the example of Frozen, which was actually on last night. And when Prince Hans tells Anna, oh, you like pizza? I like pizza. You like ice skating? I like ice skating. You like elk? I like elk. You like this? I like that. You know, it was like they were mirroring. But what the abuser also wants is they want the target of abuse to reflect back to them everything exactly that they themselves believes, which is why dissension is not allowed in any way, shape, or form. An abuser will punish a target of abuse if they provide opposing views. In a healthy, normal relationship, this person has their opinion, this person has their opinion. They may not agree, but they talk it through and figure out if they can come to a compromise, or if not, they go, hey, I don't agree with where you're going, or I don't agree with what you're saying, but hey, it's your right to believe it, and I'm not going to force my opinion on you. That's what a healthy, normal relationship is. So in a healthy, normal relationship, one person could be completely conservative, the other one could be completely liberal, and neither one of them force the other to be different or other than they are. They will discuss stuff, and they will have, maybe some give and take on some issues, but the basic premise of who their personality is still there. When you are dealing with an abuser, what will happen is that basic premise of that person starts getting eroded. You have to believe the way I believe. You have to believe the way I believe. You have to believe the way I believe. And pretty soon this person's basic assumptions or basic personality starts changing, and they start becoming the abuser. They become very similar. They start mirroring the abuser, because that's called identifying with the aggressor. It's a habit. It's a habit, guys. Oh, thank you, Rich. So what it is that when we are faced with abuse, when we are faced with a very strong personality that is insidious. So you've got to understand, abusers are like the Chinese water torture. What they do is they drip, 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 sometimes flood, but oftentimes drip, 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 drip. Their opinions, their views, their stuff, their thing, their that, their this, that, and the other thing. They drip it onto the target of abuse. And then the target of abuse hears it over and over, hears it over and over, hears it over and over. Repetition, guys, becomes habit. It does not take 21 days to create a habit. It takes about 3 months. And it's repetition. And abusers know that. Cult leaders know that, okay? The Jim Joneses, the David Koreshes, the Hale Bopp, can't remember that crazy guy's name. But, all of the cult leaders, they know that. And that's why they do the sleep deprivation. That's why abusers do the sleep deprivation. That's why they do the starving people, keeping them working to the point where they are exhausted, forcing the partner, the target of abuse, to work 2, 3, 4 jobs in order to keep the abuser happy, or to work a job where they're driving a ridiculous amount of time in order to make money. So, the target of abuse is constantly in a heightened state of alertness, because they're trying to please an unpleasable partner, and they're exhausted. They're working themselves to the bone. They don't have enough sleep. The abuser is waking them up in the middle of the night to yell at them about something, or to demand something, or to whatever. In this state, okay, they are now primed for brainwashing. Let me find my article. Dun, dun, dun. This is in Psychology Today. This is called Love, Terror, and Brainwashing. It's a great article, and it talks about how cults use the exact same behaviors that domestic violence abusers do. It's the same thing. They deny sleep. They deny food. They deny rest time. They demand that people work themselves to the bone. You will oftentimes, in abusive relationships, the target of abuse will be the only one doing any housework, the only one cleaning the house, the only one cooking, the only one doing any of that stuff, where the abuser sleeps in, takes care of themselves, doesn't, get up and help, doesn't lift a finger, says that it's their problem, makes them feel like they owe them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we start losing ourselves, like, seriously. So what ends up happening is repetition, 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 repetition. So just like in healthy, positive therapy, we repeat things, right? Abusers repeat the needed behavior that they want, and they do it very insidiously. So what they start doing is they start being here is unbrainwashing. Good. I'm glad. I hope. So what they start doing is they start insidious stuff. Well, your family doesn't really love you. You know that. If they loved you, they'd approve of me. That's exactly what they say. Instead of where the family and friends are like, yo, Houston, problem, we see a problem. And then the abuser demands that the target of abuse by proxy, and punish them for showing them up for what they are. It's like they say things like, oh, if they loved you, they would love me. No, because if your family loved you, they would call a spade, or, the pink elephant in the corner of the living room taking a crap, a pink elephant in the corner of the living room taking a crap. They're not going to say, oh no, don't, we're not going to talk about the pink elephant. No, real family, real friends point out when there is abuse going on. But as soon as the abuser knows that that's happening, they start the smear campaign on the family and the friends to erase them. And how they do this is by saying things like, if they see the target of abuse saying something that the family or the friend would say, they will put down the family or the friend, and make whatever they say sound stupid. Oh, they say that all the time. Why are you saying that? They say that all the time. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Why are you saying what they say? They say that too much. Or they start saying things like, well, they wear the same things all the time. Why don't they go get new clothes? Why don't they do this? Why don't they do that? Well, they wear their hair the same way the whole time. And do you see where I'm going? It's like this insidious little nasty, they're not good enough. They're not good enough. They're not good enough. But I'm the answer. I'm the answer. That's what abusers do. They want to discredit the family and the friends that see them for the piece of shit that they are. And they want to make the target of abuse feel like these people don't really love them or don't really have their best interest at heart. And they will tell them that. They'll say, oh, they don't really have their best interest at heart. They don't have your best interest at heart. If they did, they would love me. No, we wouldn't. I'm sorry, but when I see a pink elephant taking a shit in the corner of the living room, guess what? It's a pink elephant. Boom, shakalaka. That's it. So, but what will happen is that the cognitive dissonance kicks in. Remember, we talked a little bit about this, I think in the last video I did, the Q&A session. Cognitive dissonance is when incoming information does not match what the abuser is telling us. Now, the question I get from family and friends is, WTF? How? Why doesn't the target of abuse recognize this for what it is? Oh, sorry, I forgot to say this too. You guys share this video, share all of my videos. Somebody asked me in the middle of book signing how you guys can help educate the world. Share the video, share the video, share the videos, share the old videos, share all of them. Share this, share the things I post, share, teach, educate. Sorry, public service announcement, back to the previously scheduled programming. Okay, so what happens is when incoming information happens, not that I'm ADD or anything, when incoming information happens and it doesn't gist or jibe with what the abuser is telling the target of abuse, they freak out. Why? Because at this point, and this is the hard part for people to wrap their heads around, the target of abuse is terrified of being abandoned by the love interest or by the toxic parent, because the original wound happened when they were young. And it can be anywhere between 0 and teenage years, guys. I mean, I often say 7 because that's kind of a good medium age, but I have seen people with the original wound be as late as teenage years if there was a step parent involved or if the abuse didn't start until later. And I've seen it as young as 2. So it can happen anywhere in your past, wherever that age range that you get stuck. So let me give you a prime example. I was working with a person who had both CPTSD, and this was a question I got as well, and BPD. And the BPD was there before the CPTSD. And so working with him, taking him through the inner child work, doing the guided imagery, even getting him to a safe place alone was terrifying to the inner 7-year-old that he was working on. So when an abuser is abusing the target flips into that, I need my original caregiver to love me. And they're operating from a level of inner child 7 years old or teenager or whatever. So in order to get him safe, I had to be like, okay, you're surrounded by people who wish you well. You're okay. You're safe. He couldn't even be alone in his own head. That is what is going on with targets of abuse. They often say things like, oh my God, I'm going to die alone if I let this abuser go. Nobody's ever going to love me. Nobody's going to ever da-da-da-da-da. And it's because they have not worked on that original wound. They are terrified of being alone. Terrified. That's what we got to work on. So what happens is, oh gosh, there's a lot of questions coming in. Hang on, I've got to back up. So what happens is that when the information comes in and then they start going, oh my gosh, this means I'm going to have to let this person go. I'll give you 3 guesses who's now in charge of the show. It's not the adult target that's in charge of the show. It's the wounded inner child that's terrified of being abandoned that's in charge of the show. And they are the ones inside of us that will allow the abuse, that will put up with stuff, that will twist ourselves into pretzels, that will try to appease and make amends to the abuser. And, oh, it's my fault. Let me just do this and maybe you'll love me and maybe you'll stay and maybe you'll this and maybe you'll that. So and this is what happens in POW camps. This is what happens in cults. And this is what happens in domestic violence. The abuser uses all of these techniques on some level, knowing full well that the target is not operating from an adult standpoint, okay? And they work on that fear of the inner child of being abandoned. No one will love you. Nobody will love you as much as I do. Nobody will da-da-da-da-da. You're worthless. You're this, you're that. Whoa, that's what they do. That is exactly what they do. Okay, hold on. We got some stuff incoming. Hang on. Okay. Okay. Okay, Christine, don't be hard on yourself, please. So here's the thing. When we are operating from a level of a small child or even a teenager, our biggest thing is we just want somebody to love us. We just wish our parent loved us. We just wish that that person loved us, okay? And so when they're doing the brainwashing techniques, it's not like they hand us a huge warning sign, neon over their head. Hi, I'm brainwashing you. It's insidious. When I say it's insidious, I'm not kidding you. It's like whispered nastiness all the time. Chinese water torture, drip, 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 drip. Your family doesn't love you. They don't really care. If they did, they would love me. Da 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 da. Just nasty, nasty. They're not really looking out for you. They really want this. They really want that. Da 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 da. Lies. They lie like a rug. If their lips are moving, they're lying. So, honey, don't be hard on yourself. It is hard to see the forest through the trees. So this is what I'm talking about when I say when you get out of an abusive relationship, you need a guide. You need a therapist. You need somebody that can help get you up to the bluff, right? To look down on the forest and go, oh, crap, there's the path. Okay, got it. All right, fabulous. Found it. I'm good. And then you can go find the path and walk out of the forest. When you're in the middle of a forest and there is no clear path and you can't get high enough above it to look down and see what's going on, you're going to stay lost. You're not going to recognize, hiccup. You're not going to recognize when you're being abused or manipulated because you're so used to it. It has become commonplace and it has been normalized by the abuser. And we have been groomed by whatever that original wound is to put up with that crap. So please, please, please be gentle with yourself. But as soon as you recognize it, now you got no excuses. Now you recognize you're being abused. So now what? Now you get out of it. Now you start moving forward. Now you get up on that bluff with a guide and you start saying no to the abuse and you start pushing them out and you do what you need to do to stay safe. So hold on just a second. My dark triad ex refused to work. Tons of excuses why he couldn't work. I ended up working a lot of double shifts. Yeah, that's what they do. Then he would complain that I worked too much. Yes, that's also what they do. He slept until noon and very rarely, if ever, did anything around the house. Yeah, that's exactly what they do. They will insist that the other person work all the time. And this is not, let me make this very clear. This is not, and the abuser will use this. This is not like when somebody loses a job and they're trying to find a job and the other person's having to pick up the slack. That's way different. If this other person is constantly looking for another job, they're not the abuser. But what will happen is the abuser, if they have to pick up the slack, is going to make them pay for every dollar that they have to spend supporting the family, because that's what abusers do. Okay. All right. Yes. Okay. Yes. Please share with as many people as you possibly can. Oh, New Zealand. Oh, I didn't know you were from New Zealand. That's awesome. I want to go to New Zealand. Oh my God. I was at one of the Comic-Cons one time and the guy who played Dr. Star Trek, cute guy, Lord of the Rings, Carl one's a singer, one's an actor. Carl Urban was there. And I asked him, I was like, if I was going to go to New Zealand, which island should I go to? And he was like, oh, definitely the Southern Island. I was like, okay, cool. He was a sweetheart. He was very, because I didn't want to go up there and just be like, oh, I really like you. So anyway, love that movie. Anyway, all right. The Inner Child Workbook. Yes, get the Inner Child Workbook. Start working it. When these things are at their worst, I was sleep deprived and still stuck up for myself and would disagree with him, was so unhappy and miserable. So happy I'm strong-minded and got away from him. Good job, Lola. Go you. Okay. Yes, tell everybody in the Atlanta area to come meet me. That would be awesome. I would love that. Okay. Why is it so hard for me to go no contact? I'm going to do it though. Okay, Kaylee, here's the reason why. It's the intermittent positive rewards. So when our abuser is abusing us, they give us just enough hope, because we're all codependent. We want to fix, we want to heal, we want things to be happy, we want things to go back to the way they were when they were love bombing us. They give us just enough hope that that's happening. Oh, everything's fine, we're good, I'm nearing you, everything's good. And then they start abusing again. And then they go back to being nice to us again, and then they abuse us again. We are addicted to that. It is the intermittent positive rewards. Okay, so getting back to how they erase us. So what they do is they demand that we think like they do. If we don't agree with them, if we don't spout their rhetoric, if we don't, change our entire persona and believe the way that they believe, they abuse, they come after us, they punish. They're into punishing. They like to punish because we're not mirroring them back to them. And because they're so insecure, they cannot sustain opposing opinions. A healthy, normal person could go, yeah, it's a differing opinion. I don't agree with you, but you have a right to have it, and it's cool. People who have got a personality disorder absolutely cannot stand any differing opinions at all. They must be mirrored at all times, and they will lose themselves. So they'll start losing who they really are. Their morals will go away. The target of abuse, if the abuser keeps telling them, it's okay to lie, it's okay to lie, it's okay to cheat, it's okay to steal, it's okay to da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Suddenly, this very upstanding, wonderful person will start lying and start cheating and start stealing and lose their moral compass, lose who they are because they are now identifying with the aggressor. This is what abusers do to erase us. If we don't agree with them, they will punish us. And so habit happens when we start giving in. Well, if I just give in this time, fawning. Remember I talked about fawning? If I just give in this time, if I just agree with them this time, then it'll be okay. Okay. Well, wait, now I need to agree with them again. Okay, now I need to agree with them again. And 3 months later, you're now lying by habit. It's now become a habit. It's no longer a conscious decision. It is now a knee-jerk reaction to your abuser. And you are now lying or cheating or stealing. You have now officially lost who you are. The other thing that abusers will do is because they want to also erase the family and the friends. So like I said, they will start this negative stuff about the family and friends. Well, if they loved you, they would accept me. If they loved you, they would allow me into the family. If they would allow me into your life, they would, not have a problem with me being there, blah, 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 blah. And, oh, look, your daughter is terrible for saying these, telling you the truth, basically. Or your son is terrible for telling you the truth. And what they'll do is they'll then set about to do a smear campaign on the son or the daughter or the cousin or the aunt or the uncle or the parent or the friend who's pointed out that this person, there's something off. There's something wrong. Something ain't right about this boy. You know what I'm saying? It's like they'll set about to do a smear campaign on the target to get them to believe that the family, the friend, the child, whatever, is not good for them and they need to be out. And they start erasing who they are. They start erasing who the family member is. They start lying about the family member. They start trying to get the target to believe all these horrible things about the family member. And then pretty soon, and especially if the abuser has got kids, they start moving their kids in to replace the actual child of the target of abuse. That's what they do. It's insidious. It's nasty. It's vicious. It's abusive. Because the target of abuse has got their own kids or their own family or their own friends, but the abuser erases them by smearing them to the target of abuse, by demanding that they give them up for the abuser. And then they replace them with their family, their friends, their child or children. Does that make sense? So yeah, that is exactly what happens. Okay. Can cognitive dissonance cause physical symptoms such as dizziness? Yes. So when a target of abuse is faced with incoming information that is diametrically opposed to what the abuser has been telling you, trying to brainwash you, and the real information comes in, the look of confusion is clear on the target's face. Well, but you're being nice to me, but my abuser tells me that you're a horrible person. But you're being nice to me. I don't understand. And you'll literally get dizzy. Yeah, because your brain is literally doing the washing machine. It's like, why did you, but wait, my abuser's telling me you're a horrible person, but you're nice. I don't understand. Wait, but I know you're nice. I don't get it. Yeah, you can become dizzy. You can become overwhelmed. You can become all heart racing, panic, the whole thing, because now you've got information that is opposing what your abuser has been telling you. And now you're faced with, do I accept the new information? Do I run with that new information and save my life? Or do I do what I've always done, which is to push away the information because it's uncomfortable, because it makes me look at possibly leaving my abuser and tell the family and friends to go fuck themselves sideways. Some people tell the family and friends to fuck themselves sideways. Other people are able to go, whoa, whoa, why am I so confused? This is not normal, and work on it and get out. And see, this is what family and friends don't understand, is that there is a huge amount of cognitive dissonance happening. And the longer an abuser is with a target of abuse, the harder it is for the target of abuse to get away from them. Absolutely. Okay. Yes. And so targets of abuse, okay. So another way that they erase us is they find out what's important to us. They find out what is important to us. They mine us for information. They are looking to see where our weakness is. Hang on just a second. They are looking to see where our weakness is or what is important to us. And then to them, it's a game. They want you to give up the very things that are the most important to you. So if you have said your children are the most important thing to you, it is a total ego trip for them if they can get you to disown your child. Total ego trip for them. If your hobby was important to you, they will set about to make sure that your hobby goes away. If your job was important to you, they will make sure to set out that your job goes away. And they are so arrogant, they will tell people exactly what they're going to do. I'm going to make sure they're not friends with you. I'm going to make sure that they're not going to do their hobby with you. I'm going to make sure that they're not talking to you. I'm going to make sure. And it's an ego trip to them to actually succeed. So family and friends often point the entire finger at the abuser. Do they deserve that? You betcha. But however, the target of abuse is allowing it to happen, because there's a part of them that knows that what the abuser is doing is bullshit. But there's that bigger part of them that's terrified of being abandoned, the 7-year-old, the teenager, the 9-year-old, the 5-year-old, that will not allow the idea of being alone to even cross their minds. That's what's going on until that original wound work is done, until the original wound, the inner child work, is worked over and really, really fixed, really healed, really dealt with, really feel it to heal it. You will always be a victim to an abuser, because they will make sure that that inner child is the one that's in charge, because they will keep you in a state of panic. They will keep you in a state of fear. They will keep you in a state of being afraid of being abandoned. And they will lie to you the whole time. And you're going to want to believe their lies, because 7-year-olds want to believe that their parent loves them and that they are really having their best interest at heart. It's hard for 7-year-olds to acknowledge that a parent is abusive or absent or neglectful or drug addict or an alcoholic or whatever. They just want that parent to be normal, just like we wanted our abuser to be normal. Okay, more questions. Hang on. Is anybody else having problems with the audio on the video? Because somebody said it was low. All right. Tiger tears. Okay. Volume is okay. Okay, good. Yes, abuse can manifest in physical symptoms. So when somebody is confronted with abuse and you've got incoming information that does not match what your abuser is telling you, and you desperately want to believe your abuser, but yet you're getting information that's saying, nope, they're lying to you, babes. They're lying to you. What are you doing? They're lying to you. It's going to come out in physical stuff. So for example, when I was dealing with my dad, and I was going to this horrible school in Richvale, it was awful. And they made me go there for like a year. And every day before school, I would throw up. Why? Because I was a nervous wreck, because I was being bullied, because things were going on there. And I kept trying to tell my parents, this is not normal. This is not normal. And they weren't listening. And so, yeah, it came out physically. I started throwing up and having problems stomach-wise and things like that. So, yeah, when things are going south, physical stuff is going to happen. Abuse does come out in physical fibromyalgia, absolute depression, aches and pains, joint pain, headaches, dizziness, you betcha, because we're not being validated and we're not being true to ourselves. And so our body is literally screaming at us going, hello, this isn't right. Something's wrong. Hello. So it comes out physically. Absolutely. You betcha. Okay. All right. Okay. Yes, it is like they are irresponsible and we are overly responsible. It's absolutely true. This is why I'm saying it is the codependency that we must deal with. We absolutely must deal with it. You show me, it was so cool. Keith Urban? I thought it was Carl Urban. I'm confused. Um, anyway, it was so cool Friday night to see a whole room filled with people that just wanted everybody to be healthy, happy, and whole. So basically, it's like codependents are us, basically. It's like healers are us. We want to heal. That's a wonderful sentiment and it's great. And I'm totally down for it, except for the fact that there are some people out in this universe that really don't want to be healed. And they're the ones that sit there and go, help me, help me, help me, help me, help me. And then you help them. And then they go back to the help me, help me, help me, help me, help me. And then you help them. And then they go back to help me, help me, help me, help me. And you keep helping them and keep helping them and keep helping them until you freaking keel over. So that's codependency. So that's why I'm saying The Disease to Please by Harriet Breaker is a great book to read. Codependent and Codependent No More by M. Beatty, great books to read. Absolutely. You want to do that. So we are out of control healers. We want to fix. We want everybody to be healthy. We see the potential. That's it is our greatest blessing and our biggest curse is that we see the potential. We see the potential of every single human on the face of the planet. We go, well, but if only. Well, if only they could be sane. Well, if only they could be kind. If only they could be this. If only they'd be aware. If only they'd wake up. If only did. If only. If only. If only. If only. You cannot do that. You've got to do with what is, not what if. Okay. So we've got to deal with what is. And what is this person is unconscious, not interested in healing, not interested in changing, is not going to get better. And we didn't break them and we cannot fix them, period. So that is something that you must keep in mind is that these people cannot be fixed. And people ask me this every single time I do a public appearance. They're like, but can't they be fixed? No, sweetheart, they can't. They can't. Once they have reached the malignancy, remember, everything is on a spectrum. Everything is on a spectrum. I'm going to say this again until I'm blue in the face. Match my dress. So on a spectrum. So it's on the spectrum. You have traits of a little haughty, a little arrogant. Okay. One or two of the diagnostic criteria. Okay. That's traits of. Okay. You get to 5 or more, it's full blown. Same thing with borderline. So with borderline personality disorder, you have traits of at one end and then you have full blown at the other. Okay. The ones that are the quiet ones are the ones that are more likely to go get help. When they have moved to the witch and the queen, stick a fork in them, they're done. Okay. When they are actively harming people, intentionally manipulating, absolutely enjoying, inflicting suffering and pain because they're sadistic, there's no hope for them, guys. Now, I love it when people scream at me and go, you should never say that, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Here's the deal. I've been doing this for 13 years. I have seen it work with one client that really, really worked their ass off, period. They got into DBT counseling, they worked their ass off, and they were okay. A lot of people, when they've got a disorder like this, especially when they're further down on the spectrum, I'm not talking about traits of, I'm talking about further down on the spectrum, they don't stick with counseling. Narcissists generally don't go to counseling unless they think they can manipulate the counselor and get the counselor to get them whatever it is they're looking for, validation that their partner is crazy. And here's the other thing, guys, I've said this before, I'll say it again. You do not want to go to couples counseling with an abuser because they will take what is said in session and use it against you, period. And it's the same thing if you're trying to help a target that's in an abusive relationship and you go to counseling with them, they'll run back to the abuser and tell them everything because the abuser makes them feel obligated. Abso-fucking-lutely. And you're not going to get anywhere with therapy because the abuser will always be in the middle of it, always saying stuff to the target of abuse. Oh, that counselor doesn't know what they're talking about. They're full of shit. Blah, 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 blah. This, your sister, your brother, your family member, your friend, you're this. They're trying to control and manipulate you. But yeah, you never see the abuser go to therapy. And if they do, they only go 1 or 2 times until they figure out that, oh, they're not going to get away with it. So anyway, there that is. Okay. All right. Oh, financial abuse. Okay. So they erase who we are financially as well. So you could go from holding a steady job, making the good money, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And as soon as the abuser comes into your life, everything goes to hell in a handbasket. It's like the money goes out the door. It's like, where to go? What happened? You could sell stuff and think that you have a nice little nest egg, and then boom, within a year, it's gone. It's gone because the abuser is just spend, 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 spend. Go out to eat, go out to eat, go out to eat, go out to eat. Entertainment, 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 entertainment. They need to be constantly amused, constantly. It's no staying at home and enjoying each other's company. It's like, well, let's go out here. Well, let's go out there. Well, let's spend this. Well, I need this. Well, I need to look this way. And I need to da 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 da. And they will spend every single last time. And if you try to spend your money on you, holy shitballs, you will never hear the end of it. So prior to the abuser, you probably participated in some self-care. After the abuser, good God, if you went to go take care of yourself, they would punish you. They would make you wrong. They would guilt trip you. They would say horrible things about you. And how dare you spend your money on you? That's frivolous, blah, 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 blah. But watch them want money to go get a massage or get their hair done or do their nails or whatever. I pay for my own shit, motherfuckers. So you know what I'm saying? It's like, that's what they do. It's like they don't allow you to spend your money on you. They demand that your money is spent on them or their children or their family or their family's family or whatever. They do not allow the target of abuse to spend money on themselves, their own family, their own friends, their own kids. That's just what they do. So they try to erase you financially. And the reason they're doing this is because they're selfish POSs. But the other reason is if they can keep you financially strapped, you're not going to leave. You don't have the money to move. You don't have the money for an attorney. You don't have the money to get to a counselor. You don't have the money, period, for freedom, for a car, for this, for that. Do you see where I'm going with that? So that's another way that they try to erase us, is financial abuse. And it absolutely is true. And they do this, and it's in freaking intentional. They know they're doing it. I'm sorry. I would never say something to John about you can't spend your own money on yourself. We both work. He goes and does his thing. I go and do my thing. If we want to pull stuff together and go to Hawaii, we do. But I'm not into controlling other people. I don't have time. Thanks for playing. So yeah, so that's what they do. So it's all about isolation, power, and control. Always remember that. It's like they erase us by us giving up our autonomy, by us giving up who we really are. They get us to lie. They get us to cheat. They get us to steal. They get us to throw our own children under the bus. They get us to say horrible things about our kids to the rest of the family that are not true. They get us to say things that we would never do or say about family or friends. Absolutely. They have erased who we are, the target of abuse, but they also are trying to erase in the target's mind the family and the friends and the kids, because they want to be everything to this person so that they have absolute and utter control. Okay. How do I quit worrying about what the abuser will do after I go no contact? Okay. Again, this is that desire to take care of. That is that desire to nurture and to love and to take care of and to be kind to, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Here's the deal. You need to get with a therapist, babe. You need to work on self-esteem. Self-esteem with the Self-Esteem Workbook by Glenn Schiraldi. You need to do the Inner Child Workbook, either by Catherine Taylor or by John Bachman. You also want to get and read CPTSD, From Surviving to Thriving by Pete Walker, okay? These are the books that you need. So when you go no contact, you must, honestly, this is going to help you a lot. Listen to me now, believe me later. Write down a list of all of the rotten things that this person has ever done to you, and you keep it with you, and you look at that list frequently. Okay, because what we tend to do is just like an addict, because remember, I'm telling you, we are as addicted to the abuser, the intermittent positive rewards, not the abuse, the abuser and the intermittent positive rewards. We are as addicted as an alcoholic is to vodka, or a heroin addict is to heroin. It's our drug, okay? Which means when you go no contact, you must treat it like an addiction, which means you step away from the drug, which is your abuser. You do not entertain thoughts of it, and you start working on you. If you want to get the big book and start working on you that way, do that. I will tell you right here and now, somebody posted on YouTube and it was brilliant. AA meetings are great and I love them. I do. I think they're fantastic and I cannot recommend them enough. However, caveat, and this person pointed this out as well, some AA meetings have abusers in them, and some sponsors try to gather sponsees to them to feed their ego. So you just got to be careful. But if you want to work the big book on your own, you can get it on Amazon. and you start working the steps. And no, you don't have to be religious to do it. You can substitute, Buddha, Bufa Baba, the tree outside, your dog. I don't care. But you just work the steps because it is an addiction. You've got to put it down and step away. And then you have to have a trusted friend who is not a flying monkey, that when you get that urge to go down memory lane and minimize, because that's what we do as addicts, we minimize, we justify, we excuse make, and we rationalize. You don't want to be doing that. That's why I'm saying make sure you have a list of everything that that person has done to you so that you can refer back to it and go, ew. Oh God, yeah. Oh crap. Yeah, no, I don't want to contact them. No, that would be bad. Yeah, no, okay. Putting that in my pocket. There we go. That's what you want to do. Or you want to have a trusted friend that you can call and go, I was just thinking about Harold and, thinking about how wonderful it was. And then your friend's going to go, I'm sorry, I have to come over and perform slap therapy on you right now. Hold on, I'll be there in 5 minutes. Do you see where I'm going with that? Somebody that can slap you out of it and just be like, what the fuck are you thinking? Stop rationalizing, stop justifying, stop excuse making. You did nothing to deserve to be abused. They are the problem, not you. Bada bing, bada boom. There we go. So, all right. So there's that. So yeah, honey, it's normal. It's normal because it's an addiction. And one of the ways that we try to keep those endorphins, dopamines, and neuroepinephrines flowing is that we bring them up in our imagination. And that's another way that we flood our system with those feel-good chemicals, because we remember the love bombing, but you've got to remember the abuse. You've got to remember the abuse. Okay. Good Lord. Okay. And now I can't go backwards. I hate this thing sometimes. Okay. Okay. I'm traveling light. That's a good one. All right. Sorry, jokes. People like to tell me jokes. It's funny. I like it. Okay. My ex would call my cousins and hang up. When they called back, he pretended they called him first and said that it was proof that my own family didn't love me. Oh my God, crazy. Yeah, they do all sorts of crazy stuff. It's absolutely true. Yes, they are doing it deliberately, guys. They absolutely are doing it deliberately. You bet your sweet Bippy, because they know it works and they've done it before. So when they say things like, oh, if your brother or sister don't like me, it's not going to work, it's because it hasn't worked for them before when the family didn't like them. Guarantee it. So yeah, they are doing it deliberately. They absolutely know what they're doing. Don't you kid yourself for 1 second. They are evil, capital Eve. All right. So, okay, let's see here. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so hobbies and work. So what they will do is they will erase things from your life. They mine your past. Sorry, I got sidetracked. They will mine your past, find out what's important to you, and then set about to destroy it. And I talked about this on Friday at the book signing. So why are we being erased? Why is our family and friends being erased? Well, the family and friends see the abuser for what they are, and the abuser needs to get rid of them. Absolutely. So when somebody starts making you give up your children, your family, your friends, your hobby, your job, Houston, you've got a huge problem, because you're dealing with somebody that's trying to erase you and trying to erase all of the people in your life that love you. And like I said, they will say things like, if you say things that like your family or your friends say, they'll start mocking and making fun of the family and the friends so that you don't say those sayings anymore, so that you're not reminded of them. That's why that happens. So that was a question I got. Why is the target of abuse suddenly telling me, oh, you're so stupid when you say this one saying all the time and blah, 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 blah. It's because the abuser has told the target of abuse that and has mocked the family or the friends and is trying to get the target of abuse to not say those things, because it reminds the target of abuse of the good family members that love them and the friends that love them. But it also reminds the abuser of the good family and the friends that love the target of abuse. So yeah, they're trying to erase anybody that could possibly make the target of abuse question the abuser. You betcha. How do we relapse and go back to the abuser? It's just like being an addict, guys. Exactly like being an addict. So in addiction, it's a matter of thirds. A third of people, go into rehab and they don't ever go back. It's like they quit the substance, They're done. They hit their AA meetings. They recognize that they're going to be dead if they keep drinking or drugging. A third of people go into rehab and then keep relapsing, keep relapsing, keep relapsing, keep relaxing because they're not doing the work. They're not doing the work. They're not working on that original issue that caused them to start using the drugs and the alcohol in the first place. Alcoholism, drug abuse is a symptom of something deeper going on. We're trying to numb ourselves. We're trying to numb ourselves so that we don't feel. And then you have a third of people who just, screw you, I'm not going into rehab. Trying to make me go to rehab. I said no, no, no. Yeah, they never go. They never go. They don't want to get fixed. So it's a matter of thirds. And so what happens with that third in the middle there that goes and then relapses, we have not worked on that original wound. We haven't figured out why we're using the drugs and the alcohol to numb ourselves in the first place. So what is this person representing? What original wound is this person representing? Why haven't we healed that? Why aren't we working on that? What caused us to become addicted to that intermittent positive rewards in the first place? How did we get groomed? Where did that happen? How did we fall for the bullshit? Or as I said the other day, the toro caca. It's like, how did we fall for that? What happened? What's the original wound? So you got to work on that. That's why we keep going back. That's why we want that, because we want that feeling. So remember, guys, when they are mirroring us, it is the most amazing feeling in the entire world because they are mirroring us. We fell in love with us. We fell in love with their mirrored image of us. And, they make us think that, it's like Prince Hans from Frozen. You like pizza? I like pizza. You like ice skating? I like ice skating. You like deers? I like deers. You like elk? I like elk, the whole thing. And so it's like, oh, this is great. They're my soulmate. They're my this, they're my that. And then the mask slips and reality happens and we start getting abused. And then every once in a while, just like a good drug dealer, first one's free. They give us a hit. They give us a hit. Oh, baby, I love you. It'll never happen again. I'll be the best person ever. It was a mistake. You misunderstood. That's not really what I meant. Blah, 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 blah. And we fall back for it because it's like, oh, finally, they're mirroring me again. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, this is great. They love me again. Everything's good. And then boom, they abuse us again. And then just when we're about to leave, boom, they give us that little hint of, the hit of mirroring. So it is addiction. It is an addiction, and you must treat it as such. If you do not, you will continue to relapse, which is why I'm saying you must work on the original wound. Absolutely. I got mascara somewhere where it shouldn't be. Okay, so where was I going? Oh, okay. So here's the deal, guys. It has nothing to do with being strong. It has nothing to do with being strong. Being an addict has nothing to do with being weak or strong or anything else. It has to do with, have you done the work on the original wound? So this is what I often hear. Oh, this is a good point. So what abusers will tell the target of abuse, when the target of abuse starts figuring it out and wants to go to therapy, they will say things like, well, only weak people go to therapy. Only stupid people go to therapy. Only bad people go to therapy. Because they don't want the target of abuse to figure it the fuck out. Abso-freaking-lutely. It has nothing to do with being weak, strong, intelligent, or anything else. It has to do with the fact that you recognize you need help. That's the mark of somebody who is sane. It's like sane people have no problem saying, yo, I need help. I don't know what I'm doing. Can you help me? A sane person does that, but an addict doesn't because the ego is in the way. Well, I'm weak if I ask for help. I'm stupid if I'm asking for help. I'm somehow not good enough if I ask for help. Well, the reality of it is the smartest, bravest, most wonderful people on the face of the planet ask for help and get it because they ask. Because the worst that anybody can say is no. It's unlikely that people are going to say no if you say, hey, help me. So, which is where codependents fall into a bad habit of helping people that are just playing, crying wolf. So, okay, good Lord. So that's why it has nothing to do with strong. It has to do with addiction. And it has to do with that hope, that little kid's running the show. Oh, maybe this time my abuser will love me. Maybe this time mommy or daddy will love me. Maybe this time my caregiver will love me. Maybe this time. Okay. Has to do with healing that original wound. You've got to fix that original wound. You've got to fix where you got groomed to be treated like caca. Okay. Okay. I'm being erased by my family because my mom had a stroke and is incapacitated and she doesn't know who is really exploiting her. Oh, honey. I'm their target. It's mainly my brother and my family and his family. He even called me a narcissist and abusing her. even threaten calling the police. Get with a good therapist. You need a support system, or get into a support group, and be careful with support groups, guys, because again, you will have predators in support groups, wolf in sheep's clothing. So trust your gut. If somebody in a support group is acting, red flaggy, then trust that and get the frick out of there. Okay. Yes, autoimmune diseases are rooted in abuse too. You betcha. Depression is probably rooted in some form of abuse as well, especially in abuse victims. That's what I'm saying. It's like depression can be clinical, so it's also situational. So, but yes, absolutely. Okay. What do we need to do to decrease physical symptoms after we've left the abusive relationship, aches and pains, etc.? Okay, excellent question. So once we have been erased, once our family and friends have been erased, and then we're isolated, and we are recognizing that we have been isolated, and we decide to leave that abusive relationship, you have to go no contact, complete no contact. You get with a therapist, abso-freaking-lutely, and then you start participating in self-care. You must start eating correctly. You must start exercising every day. You must drink enough water. So here in Arizona, where it's soon to be 100 degrees, don't even get me, oh God, not looking forward to that. It's so dry here right now. We haven't had rain in weeks. I mean, it's spitting every once in a while, but not a really good solid soaking rain. So it's very, very dry here. So you have to make sure that you're getting in at least 96 ounces of water a day, because it's evaporating. You don't even realize it. And of course, when it gets hot, it's even worse. So you've got to take care of yourself. You've got to give yourself permission to start taking care of yourself. Go see a naturopath. Go start working on that autoimmune disease. Go start taking care of yourself. Go get massages. Go get your hair done. Go get your nails done. Go take care of you. It's okay. And one of the ways to do that is to give yourself permission. So when you're doing the mirror work, okay, remember I talk about mirror work? Cognitive behavioral therapy is part of that. Is what are we saying to ourselves? How are we talking to ourselves? Are we kind to ourselves, or are we mean to ourselves? So you must watch what you tell yourself, and you must give yourself permission to bring yourself back. I give myself permission to come back. I give myself permission to figure out who I am. The saddest thing I see, and I said this on Friday night too, is when people come in and they sit on my couch and they're like, I don't know who I am. I've lost myself. I don't even know what I like anymore. I couldn't even tell you what my hobbies are. I don't even know what flavor of ice cream I like. Seriously, that's to the point that abusers erase us. So your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to go find who you are. Go fly a kite, go bowling, go draw, go take care of yourself, go get a massage. What brings you joy? That's you. That's you. That stuff that makes you happy, that's you. Go find it again. What did you used to like to do before you got involved with the abuser? What was your hobby? Who were your friends? Reconnect. You're going to have to make amends. Absolutely. Because like any addict, we have thrown our family and friends and our children and anybody else under the bus for the abuser. You're going to have to make amends. You're going to have to apologize. You're going to have to own up to your actions. Absolutely. That is part of taking ourselves back. Why? Because abusers don't own anything. They refuse to take responsibility for jack diddly squat. They won't own up to anything. But I'll tell you what, a real human being does. So there that is. Okay. Chris, what can I do about the ex-narc that created falsely documented case of DV after 2+ years of chronic sleep deprivation, gaslighting, financial abuse, etc.? I know they did this to silence me in the divorce, as well as reporting it. I don't want to live in fear of this because of it being used against me for the rest of my life. You get together with somebody who's an expert witness, honestly, and or you get with somebody who understands abuse, that you can bring the files into the court case. This happens frequently, guys. This happens way more than people talk about. So what abusers will do is they will call the cops. And especially if they know you're thinking of leaving, okay? And they will set up a DV case. They'll stage evidence. They'll absolutely do it. And depending on where you are, the cops will buy it. You know, if you're in a good old boy state, good luck with that. If you're hopefully in a place like California, they won't. But, you know, in Arizona, it happens more frequently than I'd like to admit, or anybody would like to admit. So yeah, they will set up a DV case in order to discredit you during the divorce, or to keep you from getting protection from one of the agencies. Because if you've got a DV charge against you, the agencies are not going to be that keen to work with you to get you a fake address so that they can't track you anymore. So yeah, they're trying to hurt you. So you want to get together with somebody who understands this stuff, that can either talk to the lawyer or talk to the judge or be an expert witness in domestic violence, or somebody who understands it so that you can document it through, here's all of the documentation that my therapist and I talked about, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I can testify to what's in my notes. I'm not considered an expert witness, which I think is stupid, but I can testify to what's in my notes. And I do that oftentimes, with domestic violence cases, because that's what I work with. If you really want to get somebody that's got some punch, get somebody who's an expert witness in domestic violence and have them testify on your behalf. But this is where it starts getting expensive. And this is where the financial abuse comes in, is because they're trying to keep you to the point where you can't do that. So yeah, they do that absolutely on purpose. You betcha. And don't be afraid, sweetie. Don't be afraid. Just don't. That's what they want. They want us to live in a state of terror. And they want us to live in a state of fear. We do not negotiate with terrorists. You move forward with keeping you safe. That's really the most important thing. If you can get somebody to help you, support group, a therapist, somebody, do it. So there's that. Okay. Autoimmune diseases, I would say honestly go to a naturopath. I have had the most success sending my clients to a naturopath. So I like Brent Cameron at Aurora Naturopathic here in Mesa. So he's awesome. I really love him. Okay. Hello, Canada. Oh, Canada. I always loved your guys' national anthem. It's so cool. I sing it every hockey game I go to that they're there. Okay. Oh, that's the other thing. So the abusers will think they're counselors. You betcha. So abusers know everything. Okay. And as soon as the counselor starts saying, what's your part in this? They'll stop counseling and they'll claim to know more than somebody with a master's degree. They'll claim to know more than somebody with a doctorate. They'll claim to know more than the lawyers. They'll claim to know more than the judge, because narcissists have got to be the best at everything. I'm the best at everything. I'm the best. I'm the best. That's what they do. They claim to be the best. They're the best at everything. They know more than somebody who's actually educated in this stuff and eats, sleeps, breathes, reads all the time on this stuff. So yeah, they pretend to be the counselors, and they will manipulate. They'll know just enough psychology to manipulate the target of abuse to get them to believe them, as opposed to the person who's actually a counselor. That's what they do. That's part of their way of trying to manipulate and control. And you will often find abusers who do go get their degree in counseling. They very rarely go through and get their LPC or whatever, because they're afraid of being found out. But they'll take enough classes that they can start manipulating. You betcha. But you will find narcissists in counselors, doctorates, et cetera, et cetera. So they're everywhere. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. Trust your gut. Trust your gut. Trust your gut. Actions and words matching shows that that person is not an abuser. If the action and the words don't match, then they're an abuser. So there it is. All right. Okay. Yes, they do try to erase our identity. They take everything away from us. Absolutely. Chris, would an abuser self-destruct in order to reel back an old source of supply? Yes, absolutely. They will do the whole I'm dying. They will do the whole I see the light. They will do the whole I'm homeless. They will do the whole whatever they need to do in order to get supply. Yeah, absolutely. And as soon as they get supply in, then they will suddenly miraculously make a recovery. Yeah, absolutely. I can't tell you the number of times that abusers have used the whole I'm dying of cancer, I'm dying of this, I'm dying of that, I'm broke, I'm homeless, I'm, feel sorry for me, feel sorry for me, feel sorry for me, in order to reel back an old supply. You bet. So don't fall for it. Once you're gone, be gone. Are you done being abused? That's the question. And that's the question that we ask ourselves as addicts. Are we done abusing ourselves with drugs, with alcohol, with this person? Are you done? Are you done being abused? If the answer is yes, you maintain radio silence. You don't allow them in your life. Okay. Are most stereotypical trophy wives and or men who prefer to marry such narcs? Gina, what are you talking about? I must have missed the first part of that question. So trophy wives. Okay. Trophy wives generally are gold diggers. Okay, hang on just a second. They are looking for somebody to take care of themselves. They have learned helplessness, and they are looking for a male, sometimes a female, to support them 110%. They're gold diggers. They're absolute gold diggers. Is there a personality disorder there? Maybe, maybe not. But they may be minor narcissists, but they're gold diggers. Absolutely. And so they don't ever want to work a day in their lives. And so they're looking for a sugar daddy to take care of them. So yeah, you betcha. So they marry narcs because narcs play a good game. Well, you look pretty, little lady, or big handsome guy, and I'll take care of you. But as soon as they step off the track, as soon as they have their own opinion, as soon as they try to do something for themselves, the narc doesn't like that, because they are there to make the narc look good. So yeah, absolutely. All right. Alrighty then. My abuser made sure I was so dirt poor so they don't have any way out. Yeah, that's what they do. And that's why when you are even thinking about leaving an abuser, you need to start squirreling away nickels and dimes. I'm not kidding you. They add up. It is. And you've got to put it somewhere where they'll never find it, so you have a stash of cash at all times. And you want to get your own bank account, and you want to put as much money in there as you possibly can. They will actually try to make you put everything into a joint account so that they can see that your check is coming from your work into the joint account, so that you can't withdraw anything. You need to change that somehow. Have HR come up with some bullshit that you can tell them, so that, oh, sorry, they're doing this, that thing, and I need to do whatever. I don't know. I don't care. Come up with it. Get your own money. Get your own account. Get your own check into your own place, so that you have money to get the hell out. Okay. Yes, if you do get away and you have got children involved, and it is your kids with this guy or girl, they will try to erase you from the lives of the children. This is parental alienation. This is what I was talking about a few weeks back, is so that the narcissistic parent or the abusive parent will then try to erase the other parent from the child's lives. This is when they turn into the Disneyland dad or mom. This is when they, hey, come live with me. I won't have any rules. You can drive the car. I won't make you come home at night. You don't have to do chores, blah, 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 blah. Trying to get the teenager, who of course would, what kid wouldn't go for that, away from the parent who's actually sane and has boundaries and has discipline and has, the best interest of the child at hand. Whereas the narcissistic parent that does that, all they care about is getting the child to their side because it's a win. And they don't care that later on in life, this kid isn't going to have boundaries or know how to work or know how to, take care of themselves, or maybe has put themselves in a dangerous position because there were no rules and there were no boundaries and there wasn't a curfew, etc. So yeah, that's absolutely, it's parental alienation. You bet. They try to erase the other parent, or they try to erase the other family that's a good influence on the child, that points out that this person is, batshit crazy. So, okay. All right. Thank you. And speaking of nails, so I need to thank Terracote at Simply Ravishing the Salon. So my normal lady that does my nails called in sick, and she was like, I'm really, really sick. I think it's the stomach flu. I'm not sure I'm going to get to you. And I was like, so I called Tara up, and she was able to slide me right in, and she did my nails, and she did a fantastic job. So Terracote at Simply Ravishing the Salon in Mesa. She's awesome. I love her. Okay. Okay. My ex moved into my house and immediately put me on a budget. Yes, that is what they do. So even though you're full-time working, both of you, suddenly they're the one that's in charge of all the money. They're the ones that's, you don't get to see what's going on. And they put you on a budget, even though you're working full-time. Houston, that's a huge red flag. Huge red flag. Ginormous. This is what abusers do, because they want to control. It's all about power and control, power and control. And they try to erase you financially. Like I said, they try to get you into as much financial debt as they possibly can, so that there's no way you could leave, or that leaving would be very, very difficult. And it's also a way to erase your autonomy and your sense of self-worth. It's like a normal, healthy adult pays their bills, knows how much money they have, can budget, can do things. But an abuser will make sure that that doesn't happen, so that you don't feel like an adult. Again, they're playing to that inner child, because they want to keep you stuck. They want to keep themselves as the adult and you as the kid. And they will often, they will actually even say things like that. Oh, she's so childish. She's such a child. She can't do anything for herself. I have to do it all for her, or I have to do it all for him. Do you see where I'm going with that? They infantilize the target of abuse. Again, removing the adult from this equation and leaving the scared, terrified, frightened of abandonment inner child and perpetuating that by calling them a child, calling them childish, calling them this, calling them that. Yeah, it's a way to invalidate. It's a way to erase the adult out of the equation. Abso-freaking-lutely. Okay. Chris, do you think some people are naturally more prone to stress-related illnesses than other? Yes. Nature, nurture, absolutely. I have friends who have been through horrible abuse and big life stressors and never get ill, when others have come down with long-term depression and anxiety and CPTSD. Is this largely down to natural physical predisposition? Yeah, I think it is. I really do. Because, you can have an entire family go through something horrific and one or two members will be fine, no problem, and then other members will have autoimmune diseases or depression or whatever. And yeah, nature, nurture, tomato, who knows what the combination is. But yeah, I do believe it comes down to a combination of nature and nurture. It really does. Okay. Okay, hold on. Yeah, when you leave someone, they can develop obsessive X syndrome and they will become stalkers, you betcha. And they love, their whole stock and trade is intimidation. They want you to feel afraid. They want to shut you up. They want to make sure you're not talking. They want to make sure that you're not exposing them for the piece of shit that they are. So they will do anything they can to try to shut you down. They will stalk. They will create false personas. They will try to, be a troll. They'll try to, smear you. They'll try to, they'll slash your tires. They'll, whatever. They'll do all sorts of crazy things. It's all about intimidation. Don't let them win. Don't let them win. If somebody's doing that to you, you file an order of protection against them, period. And then you call the police each and every single time it is violated. Absolutely. Because they're trying to take your safety away from you. They're trying to get that inner child to be fearful, to give in to the abuse, just like you used to do, but now you're standing up to them and they don't like it. So yeah, absolutely. Work on the inner child, guys. I am telling you now, you work on that original wound. You work on that original abandonment, that original fear, that original neglect or abuse. You work on that original thing, abusers will be out of the picture. Guarantee it. Okay. I kept a journal of all the crazy things that she did to me, and I go back periodically to read it. Someone asked me why I keep reliving the negativity by rereading, and I try to tell them it does the opposite for me. It helps. Yeah, it absolutely does. It absolutely does. And it's important because remember, as addicts, we minimalize, we rationalize, we justify, and we excuse make. And that's why you need a journal of every rotten thing that this person has ever done to you. Ever done to you. Absolutely. Yep, you betcha. All right. The ex ran off with our son when I caught her abusing. It's been 4 years and still no information about how and where my boy is. Oh, honey. Just a state-sponsored effort to erase me. Yeah, witnessing abuse is now the crime, which means society is a nationwide cult. Yeah. So parental interference, custodial interference, it needs to be more serious of a crime than it is. Yeah, that's horrible, hon. I'm so sorry. That sucks. I'm really sorry. Okay. Yeah, I could be with my friends doing the same thing my ex is doing with my friends, and my ex would be like, oh my God, you're so boring. Yeah, the disdain, the putting down, the less than. So when you're with somebody who loves you, they lift you up. It's like they love your sense of humor. They laugh at your jokes. They enjoy your company. They want to be around you because you feel awesome with them. And you tell them that. But when you're with an abuser, well, why are you doing that? Why are you saying that? Why are you wearing that? Why you say the same things over and over again? Da, 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 da. That's an abuser. That's an abuser. Or that's the abuser telling that to the target, and the target doing abuse by proxy, telling that to the family and the friends when that never happened before. So that's how you know what's going on. Okay. He told me he told people that I was giving up working after we got married. Like I was like, that's news to me. Oh yeah, they will do that. Oh, you're gonna be the little wife. You're gonna stay at home. You're gonna take care of the kids. You're gonna, blah 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 blah. Okay. Good for you, Colleen. So yeah, grandparent rights. Okay, so grandparents. Okay, if the grandparent is the abuser, and this happens, guys, because like I said, it's not always a romantic relationship. Sometimes this is a familial parental grandparent issue. So if a grandparent is toxic, they will try to enforce grandparent rights. And it's super important that if a grandparent does that and the grandparent is the abuser, you get with a good therapist immediately and you start documenting the living crap out of what happened in your childhood and what's, what they're trying to do now. And you get with a good lawyer and you prevent that from happening. So yeah, I have seen that happen. Absolutely. They will try to get grandparent rights and they will try to take the kid away from the parent who is actually healthy. And then, yeah, it's going to take therapy to undo any damage if the kid has to spend time with the abuser. So, yeah, that absolutely does happen. Why do they put you in unwinnable situations? I'll only love you if you do X. But then when you actually do X, they punish you with anger and silence because how dare you show them that they're wrong? How dare you win? It's all about the win for them, guys. Remember, they don't give a care about anybody. They care about the win. Everything for them is a win. It's black and white thinking. It's either a win or lose, good or bad, all or nothing, black or white. If you do what they've asked, well, now they don't get to punish you. Well, how dare you? Well, I'm going to punish you anyway. How dare you win? That's crazy. Because in a healthy relationship, there are no ultimatums. Okay. And an ultimatum is do this or else, right? It's not a, hey, this would benefit our relationship. It's a do this or else. And so when you do it, then they punish you for it because you've won. And so they can't not win. It's all about the win for them. Or they say, well, that doesn't matter because you didn't do Y. Yeah, then they'll minimalize. Well, you didn't do it good enough. You didn't do it fast enough. You didn't do it on my timetable. You didn't do it whatever it is. Because they're all about the win and they're all about the punishing and all about the control and all about how can they make you jump through hoops. They honestly get off, swear to God, it's a game to them. Can I make them jump through this hoop? Can I make them do what I want? That's what they're all about. They don't care about the person. They don't care about the relationship. They care about the power and they care about the control. Absolutely. Do they move the goalpost to destroy your confidence and sense of reality? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's brainwashing. Again, it's like, well, here's the goalpost, but now you've met it. So I'm going to move it over here. And then I'm going to move it over here. Now it's going to be on Mars. Now it's going to be on Jupiter. Now it's going to be out in, outer space somewhere. So you can never reach it. Not good enough, not good enough, not good enough, not good enough. And that plays into whatever you're telling yourself in your head. If you're doing the whole not good enough thing, that plays right into it. And it's another way of erasing us. It's another way of destroying our self-esteem. Well, you're not good enough. You can't meet my goal. You can't meet my ultimatum. You can't meet my unreasonable demand. So do you see where I'm going with that? It's a way to destroy the self-esteem. You betcha. Abso-freaking-lutely. Okay. All right. Yeah, James, you're absolutely right. Nobody who's with a narc will ever be good enough for them, no matter what we do, bending forward or backwards. You bet. Okay. Oh, huh. So, Wolfric, that is triangulation of communication. So another way that they try to make us less than and make us unsteady on our emotional feet is to triangulate with another person. So this can look one of a few ways. So let me explain different triangulations. One triangulation is triangulation of communication. And what they will do is they will call up the family or the friend and they will start screaming at the family of the friend and saying, well, so-and-so said that you said such and such. Okay, that's triangulation because that other person is now not in the room and they can say that that person said anything. Okay. So that's a power and control play. So the way you stop that is I'm not discussing with this with you unless so-and-so is in the room, period. That usually puts an end to it. The other way they do triangulation is they pull in a third party into the relationship, either in the form of a romantic jealousy, like, another woman, another man, or whatever, and they start comparing you against that person. And that is a triangulation of the relationship, which keeps the target of abuse on their toes and insecure, wondering if they're loved or not. That's a triangulation. Or what they will do is if you start adopting traits of that person that they admire, supposedly, then they start punishing you for it because you're not playing the game. You're not a nervous wreck wondering if they love you or not. So yeah, it's all triangulation. It's all sick and it's all a game that narcissists play. You betcha. Okay. Okay, yeah. So what so I paint. He didn't stop me from doing it, but he was always proud of me for doing it and sung my praises. However, he would direct the way I painted my work, and it became steadily automatic and sterile over the years. Yes. So this is what abusers will do, is they will interject themselves into your hobbies. They will take them over. So let's say painting is your thing. Suddenly they're the expert. Suddenly they're telling you how to do the painting, or how to do the writing, or how to do the whatever. They'll dictate what you can and cannot do in your own hobby. And that's how you know you're with an abuser, is when they start dictating your hobby to you. That's really scary, because they're trying to kill that creative vibe that you have. Absolutely. They do, again, try to erase us by taking over our hobbies. Or they'll become a painter themselves and try to compete with you, or they'll become a writer themselves and try to compete with you. It's a competition thing. They cannot stand being outshone. And so when they do praise your work, I can guarantee you it's when they go, yeah, well, I taught her everything she knows. I taught them everything they know. I told them how to do that. I gave them that direction, da da da. They're still taking credit for shit they didn't do. So yeah, it's a competition thing. Absolutely. They absolutely do that. Okay. Let's see here. All right. Yes, yoga, journaling, and music is absolutely healing. You go do the things that heal you. You go do the things that you love. Once you have left the abusive relationship, get with a good therapist. Work all of these works. Heal the original wound, the inner child. Work on that. Go do yoga. Go take care of your body. Go do music. Go dance. Go sing. Go do you. Go do what you did before the abuser. This is hugely, hugely important. Go get you back. Remember, remember who you are. It's just like in Moana, when Tafiti turns into Ka. Ka is this person who, this horrible volcanic monster that doesn't know who they are, and they've adopted all of these horrific monster type traits, fleas. And then when Moana finds her and touches her forehead to Ka and says, remember who you are, and she puts the soul back into Ka, and she becomes Tafiti again. That's what we're doing when we're healing ourselves. We're remembering who we really are, and we're regaining our soul. We're getting our moral compass back. We are making amends for the lying, the harm, the hurt, the throwing kids under the bus, the throwing family under the bus, the throwing friends under the bus. That's what we must do when we heal from domestic violence, when we heal from a narcissistic abuse, from any kind of malignant abuse. We must get our soul back, and we must remember who we really are. And who we really are is not what our abuser told us we are. It's not. And they want us to believe that we are who our abuser told us we are. It's not. Okay. Self-care is so hard. It is. And you've got to do it. Force yourself to. Give yourself permission. It's hugely important to give yourself permission to practice self-care. Yeah, I have less friends now, but way better friends. And you're going to be guarded when you go back out. And I would recommend staying single for a minimum of a year when you leave an abusive relationship. Why? Because you need to figure out who the hell you are. You need to know what your wants are, your likes, your needs. You need to be secure in that self-esteem. You need to have that good, rock solid base of, I know who I am, so that when an abuser comes in and starts trying to tell you who you are, you can go, yeah, don't think so. Have a nice day. You know what I'm saying? Instead of going, oh gosh, maybe that's really who I am. No, you need to have a good, solid self-esteem base. You need to have been working on that original wound, because if you're not, I can guarantee you, you're going to fall right back in with another abuser. Okay. How do you figure out what you did to your pals when you were with the abuser? I felt them to be hurting me at the time, and since leaving the abuser, I am isolated and no one has checked in. I have reached out to a handful and have also had a dialogue with someone who was hurt by me. Well, okay. So here's the deal. Real friends will stay in touch in some way, shape, or form. Now, what they may do is when you're with the abuser, they will extricate themselves from the situation because the abuser is abusing them by proxy. But the second the abuser is out of their lives, I can guarantee you the real friends will contact in some way, shape, or form. Or if, here's the thing, you cannot count on the friends to contact you, because if you were abusing by proxy, the friends will probably feel that you need to be the one reaching out to them. So it's just like making amends when you're doing, recovery from drugs or alcohol. So when we go through the 12 steps, we do a fierce moral inventory. Where did we go south? And who did we hurt? And how did we harm them? And what do we need to do? Okay, now we need to make amends. Okay. So then you reach out to the people that you feel that you owe and I'm a mea culpa to, right? And I'm sorry to. And you offer the mea culpa or the I'm sorry. Now, if the person is interested in having a friendship back, they'll say, okay, with some caveats, maybe some therapy, maybe some, we need to talk to a third party because believe you me, I've got some things to say, that kind of thing. And that's fine. The other possibility is you reach out to the friends and it's radio silence. Okay, well, you have your answer. They're not interested. Oh, well, they're lost. Or you reach out to the family and friends and they go, fuck you. I'm so pissed at you. I want nothing to do with you. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, that's a possibility as well. The whole point about making amends, though, is for us to take responsibility for our own shit. And if we have abused somebody by proxy, it's up to us, the target of abuse, to reach out to the family and friends and say, I know this happened. I know I hurt you. I am sorry. That's a real apology. A fake apology is, I'm sorry, but I'm sorry, I'm sorry, and then 4 pages of why it's all your fault. So, and it's up to the family and friends to decide if they want to continue the relationship or not. So honestly, when we leave an abusive relationship, sometimes we need to start making new friends because we have burnt bridges. We have harmed people. And some people are willing to forgive and others are not. And you just kind of reach out and see which ones are where, and then and then you move forward based on that, if that makes any sort of sense. Okay. Yeah. So it's happening in California that the abusers are getting away with charging DV charges. So you got to find people that can back you up, domestic violence shelter, somebody that has an expert that can testify on your behalf. It sucks. Okay. All right. I asked this question on one of the last shows, but you weren't able to get to it. How do we shut down inappropriate conversations with toxic people, narcs, without inciting rage? You don't. They're gonna rage, sweetie. The wind could be blowing the wrong direction and they're gonna rage. And it's an excuse and they want to rage. That's their thing. They enjoy raging because it frightens people and it controls people and it manipulates people and it intimidates people and it keeps people from speaking the truth. So, if you're having a conversation with somebody that is toxic, you simply hang up on them. When they start raging, you hang up. You can say, this is not an appropriate topic. I'm not going to speak about this. And they start raging, click, you're gone. So you are under no obligation to sit there and take it. Absolutely. So if somebody is being inappropriate in a conversation, they're being toxic, they're being whatever, you can give them a heads up. Absolutely. This is not a topic of conversation I'm willing to go down. And then when they start raging or manipulating or whatever, I'm hanging up the phone now. Click, and then you hang up. You have the power. You have the right to do that. Absolutely. You are under no obligation to sit there and take abuse. Ever. Ever. And I don't care who they think they are. Absolutely. I hope that answered the question, Kristen. If it didn't, let me know. Okay. All right. Okay. Yes. This is okay. So Justina, yeah. So when we have CPTSD, complex post-traumatic stress disorder, and we see a car that looks like our abuser's car, yeah, we're going to freak right the fuck out. Why? Because we think it's our abuser, and oh my God, it's that fear response. Okay, remember, so the amygdala, left side, right side, the amygdala is a little almond-shaped organ that sits about an inch inside of each ear. It's stupid. It cannot tell the difference between a real threat, a thought about a real threat, a future threat, a thought about a future threat, imagining a threat, an emotional threat, a thought about an emotional threat, or gee, I was abused in the past. It can't tell the difference. So when we see our abuser's car or something that looks like our abuser's car drive by, this little thing lights up like a Christmas tree, sends off a distress signal to the hippocampus hypothalamus and says, oh my God, we're going to die. That then tells the brain to release cortisol. Cortisol is our stress hormone. We start tensing up, cuts off the oxygen, CO2 exchange to the lungs, which then tells another part of the brain, a little further down on the reptile part of the brain, oh my gosh, we really are going to die. And we tell the adrenal gland to release all the adrenaline at once. And now we're shaking like a leaf, puffy little breaths, and we're freaking right the fuck out. all because the amygdala is stupid. So basically, when you see something that triggers you, it's really important to breathe and to remind yourself that you are safe. So I posted a video on self-defense things. I know you're not going to learn self-defense from watching a video, but the point being is when you are the target of abuse, one of the ways to take your power back is to take self-defense courses or kung fu or any of the martial arts. And it is a comfort knowing I can drop a 350-pound, 6'5" man if I need to. And do I practice? You bet. I do grappling. I work out on my punching bag. I do all sorts of stuff because you got to keep it fresh. It's like with any other habit or any other skill, you've got to practice. So does it help? Yes, it does. And it helps with self-esteem and it helps with self-confidence. Because remember, they wanted to take all of that away from us. They want us to be terrified when we see a Pontiac or whatever the car is drive by. They want us to immediately go into that fear response. And that's when you take your power back and go, fuck you, not today, Satan. Fuck you. Do you see where I'm going with that? It's like, So you got to work on that. And you got to work on breathing and self-soothing and going, okay, it's not his car. And if it is, and I have an order of protection against him, I call the police. I'm good. I'm safe. I'm in a public spot. Everything's fine. Do you see where I'm going? So take your power back. Take your power back. Absolutely. It is PTSD. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. The positive which comes from getting away from psycho abusers is you move forward, you move towards the exact opposite people. And the good thing is for every nut job you get away from, there's 20 decent people ready to welcome you. Yeah, absolutely. And you do need to work on that original wound because you do not want to call those types of people to you consistently, the crazy ones. You don't want to keep trying to fix the unfixable or try to heal the unhealable, that type of thing. Okay. All right. Yeah, okay. At 58, out of a 5-year abusive relationship, get back to you. Healing first, then get back to your own dreams, goals, and direction and purpose. Life is too short. Your tribe is a big, important thing. Yes. The abusive person untreated only hones their skills for the next target and waiting, even at middle age. They have had a lifetime to date of getting better skilled at their disorder. Yeah, absolutely. Abusers don't get better, guys. They get worse with age. And with every target, with every victim, with every target, they hone their skills. Absolutely. Like any predator. It's like, well, this didn't work this time. Well, let me try this. That type of thing. My best friend who recently blocked me by the suggestion of her abuser should definitely be listening to this. I escaped an abuser and have been trying to tell her that her situation is only going to get worse. And now he has convinced her that I'm the enemy. 13 years friendship destroyed. Yeah, that's what they do. That's what they do, sweetie. And all you can do is you shut the door, but you don't lock it. And you wait for when the abuser does go, because at some point they will. Because abusers don't stick around. They can't, once the money runs out, once the good looks runs out, once the benefit runs out, once they've destroyed their target of abuse, they move on to the next. Once their little ego is not getting stroked, they move on to the next. So you be there, for when that time comes. And sometimes it never does. I got to warn you, sometimes it never does. But when it does, be there. That's it. That's all you can do. And then suggest therapy. Oh, yeah. Okay. The narc said he used to be very sensitive and vulnerable when he was young, but his mom used to call him a pussy, and he said he got very hurt when he was vulnerable, so he built up walls and doesn't want to let anyone in. Also, he said he was a favorite child in his family. Does that sound like a bit of honesty or just something for him to make me feel sorry for him? It sounds like a load of crap to me, honestly. But, I don't know the situation, so trust your gut. Trust your gut. Trust your gut. Yeah, it could be the mom provided the original wound. I don't know. So trust your gut on this one. Okay. How do you stop from dissociating? Okay. Get with a good therapist. Okay. So dissociating is a way of coping with trauma that is overwhelming. So that's like when we leave our bodies and we're watching it happen from the corner of the room, that type of thing. So one of the ways that I teach my clients is when they are experiencing a flashback. So CPTSD has flashbacks, okay? Things trigger us, we get flashed back, just like seeing the car, and we want to leave our bodies because we're terrified. One of the biggest things is to start touching your legs and reminding yourself you're right here, right now. It's not real. It's a thought. It's nothing more than a thought. You're safe. You're okay. So you do the self soothing. One of the modalities that will help with trauma is EMDR. Get with a good qualified therapist, not somebody who took a weekend course. You want somebody who this is their modality. They have studied the crap out of it. They know what they're doing. EMDR can help move the trauma from happening in the here and now to being able to talk about it and process it and deal with it. So that is one good way to start working on that. And it's a matter of recognizing that you're safe now. You're okay. You're safe. You don't need to float out into the universe. You can stay in your body. It's okay. You're safe. Self-soothe, self-soothe, self-soothe. Get with a good EMDR therapist. Get with a good therapist. Start working on the trauma. Absolutely. And it's a common thing, guys. It's a common thing. Dissociation is a very common thing. Okay. Yeah, learning your triggers. Absolutely. And then being very gentle with you when the triggers happen. Okay, let's see. Okay, before the narc, I loved dancing with friends and going out. I've tried to reconnect with the majority of them have not forgiven me for going back with him. It's been 3 years of no contact with a lot of people won't forgive. So this is why we need to educate, guys. This is why I want you to share these videos. This is why I want to educate the living crap out of everybody so that family and friends understand what the fuck is going on with the target of abuse. Why do we go back? That's the question I get a lot. Well, okay, addiction. It's an addiction. We are addicted to those intermittent positive rewards. So we have family and friends that have been hurt by us, and they may not want us back because they've been hurt by us going back to an abuser. That's why amends are important, and they will either accept it or not. And if they don't, you move on, you make new friends. If they cannot forgive you, then Houston, there's a problem, because compassion for yourself is everything. Compassion for others is everything. Here's the thing. I can have compassion for abusers from a distance. I don't need them in my life, period. But I understand, okay, they suck. They're going through their own shit and they're a child of the universe, but I don't have to have them in my life. Pima Chodron calls it idiot compassion when you continue to allow an abuser in your life. It's idiot compassion. Oh, but I feel sorry for them. Oh, but they da-da-da-da-da. So some of your friends may feel like they just don't want to get hurt again. And that's a possibility. And that is the risk that we take when we get out of an abusive relationship and we do make amends and we ask for forgiveness. Some are willing, some are not. And the ones that are not, you go, okay, I tried. I did my best. I'm moving on. I'm making new friends. That's life. It sucks, but that's life. So yeah, absolutely. Okay. Chris, how do we know if it's our instincts guiding us or our mind that has been poisoned by the abuser for months or years? So this is the hard thing. When you are in the middle of an abusive relationship, it is so difficult to hear your gut. And what the abuser is playing on is your heart and your mind. These two will always steer you wrong. The gut will not. So it is exceedingly difficult to listen to your gut if you've got the abuser constantly. Your family doesn't love you. If they loved you, they'd accept me. If they did that type of thing. That's why it's so very difficult to heal if you're still in an abusive relationship. You have to get away from the abuser so that that voice is shut down and you can clearly start listening to your gut and not your heart and not your head. So yeah, it's a matter of practice. It's like, the gut is a yes or no question. The heart and the head are blah, 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 a bunch of words. Okay. Does that make sense? And when you get out of the abusive relationship, you're not going to trust your gut at first. It's going to take practice. You're going to need to practice with a good therapist to help you learn what is your gut, what is not your gut. What is this internal dialogue? Is this the healthy internal dialogue, or is this your abuser's voice stuck in your head? That's why therapists come into play, and that's why it's so important to get help, because it's hard to separate, to tease out all of the abuse from what is real. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Your mind will deceive you. Absolutely. Okay. All right. Let's see what else we got going here. Why do they snap at you with the most vitriol when you're trying to be the most affectionate, a situation that's supposed to be loving, like a cruise or a vacation? Okay, so abusers don't like themselves. You do not treat other people the way they treat other people and like yourself. You don't. So they don't believe that anybody deserves to have fun. Anybody. So you're on a cruise, you're on a vacation, it's Christmas, it's Easter, you got Easter coming up. It's a birthday. It's a celebration. If it's not focused on them, they'll ruin it. Guaranteed. they'll ruin it because it's not what they wanted. It doesn't match their perfect pictures. It's fill in the blank. Plus the fact they need somebody to abuse. So if you're doing something loving and kind and wonderful and they are in a snitty mood and they want to abuse somebody, they're going to use whatever to abuse you because you're their favorite whipping post. So yeah, they will go about to ruin vacations. They will set about to ruin holidays. They go about to ruin birthdays. They go about to ruin special occasions. It's just what they do. So they can be the martyr. So they can be the victim. So they can be the center of attention. That's what it's all about. So that's why they do those things. Okay. All right. Hang on. Yeah, so family and friends don't understand. They don't get it because listen, guys, I've been studying this for years and it's so frustrating when you get family members that refuse to say anything about the abuser because they don't want to get involved. Well, guess what? You need to be involved because to stand by and say nothing is kind of like when the Nazis took over and everybody was just like, oh, well, it's happening in Poland. It's not my problem. Well, guess what? It is. So, you've got to say something. If you see abuse happening, you speak up, period. This is what I'm saying. We've got to share these videos. We've got to educate the public as to what's going on in the mind of the abused, as well as what's going on in the mind of the abuser, so that people understand why it's an addiction, what are the mechanics, what are the likelihood of relapsing and going back to the abuse. The likelihood of going back is huge if you don't work on the original wound. Just like with an addict, if they don't deal with the original reason why they're using drugs and alcohol, or a person, they'll go back into drugs, alcohol, or the person. You've got to fix that original wound that you're trying to numb, or that fear that you're trying to numb so that you don't deal with it. I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be alone. Oh my God, I'd rather be with this person than alone because it's too frightening to be alone. So, here's the thing. When we are dealing with that kind of fear, when we are dealing with abandonment, it's huge. You can't even be alone in your own head. I think I mentioned this. You can't even be alone imagining being alone in your own head because it's so frightening because that little child is terrified of being alone. That's the wound we've got to fix. If you can't imagine being alone and being happy, you need to work on that original wound. You need to be able to imagine in your own head being alone and being happy. It is better to be alone for the right reasons than with somebody for the wrong. Always. So, and family members and friends don't understand that. Sometimes because the family members are abusive themselves, sometimes because they're toxic, sometimes because they're flying monkeys, sometimes it's willful ignorance, sometimes it's just because this is a lot of stuff to wrap your head around. How long have we been talking? We've been going for an hour and 36 minutes now. So, it's a big topic and there's a lot of information to it, and there's a lot of psychology to it, and there's a lot of the whys to it, the hows, the mechanics. So we've got to educate people. We've got to get this topic to not be taboo. We have to talk to the families, talk to the friends, talk to the counselors, talk to the general public, get them to understand how the mechanics of abuse goes, what the abusers are doing and thinking, why they're trying to erase the abused, and what's going on in the minds of the abused. How come that fear is there? Why do they keep going back? The average time of leaving an abusive relationship is on average 7 times. Seven times of going back to the abuser before they finally go, oh, geez, wow, you know what? I'm done. And it's so frustrating to the family and friends to watch this because you're watching somebody you love literally be destroyed in front of you. So yeah, it's heartbreaking. And this is why education is the key. Education is the key. We've got to educate everybody about that. And it depends on what the family and the friends are. If they're flying monkeys, they're minor narcissists, you want nothing to do with them. If they are simply uneducated, then you want to educate them. So that is that. Okay. And families should have your back. Families should always have your back. You, the child, should be more important than the son-in-law or the daughter-in-law or the any-in-law or whoever, because you are family. So if your family does not have your six, use a little military term, if they don't have your back, if they don't have your six, then they're the wrong family. Find a different tribe that has your back. So that family would be flying monkeys if they're supporting the abuser, if that makes any sort of sense. I've stopped talking to my family. Good. My ex-husband withdrew from the mortgage and things he is entitled to. He sabotaged the businesses I was buying. Yeah, that's what they do. That's what they have, financial abuse. Absolutely. Okay. Nicole, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Same with their kids. I'm not sure what you mean. Can you explain? Okay.
He always blamed me for the vacation holidays being ruined. He would underdeliver by getting a cheap hotel, even though he could afford the best. Yeah, they do that. They absolutely do. Or they get a hotel and then they complain about everything's too loud. I don't like the smell. The view isn't right. It's not perfect, blah, blah, blah. Because remember, they have perfect pictures. Abusers have got perfect pictures because they have to have perfection around them. And if anything is less than perfect, then that means something about them. That's why they're so hard on everybody around them as well, because they are the least perfect people walking the face of the planet, yet everything else has to be perfect. They're not the type that can just roll with the punches. So for example, you go camping and there's a massive, rainstorm and your campsite gets flooded out. Well, instead of laughing about it and going, wow, this is one for the books, they'll sit there and piss and whine and bitch and moan and tell you how horrible you are for deciding to go camping this weekend, even though there was no rain predicted. I mean, do you see where I'm going with that? Or it's like, something goes south, you roll with it, you have fun with it. So, okay, for example, John and I were in, was it Austin? No, San Antonio. We were in San Antonio a couple of years ago, and three tornadoes hit on a night that we were taking a ghost tour, right? So in the middle of this ghost tour, it's like the sirens are going off and we're like, oh crap, we're in the middle of downtown and there's like, tornado warnings going on. And it was soaked to the bone, and it was windy, and the wind would come in from one direction and then from another. And so we got a lift, thank God. And the guy happened to be going home, and he picked us up. And of course, it was a river down there. So we could have, if it was a narcissist, they would be pissing and whining and moaning and screaming and yelling and shouting and all sorts of stuff. With me and John, it was like, wow, we survived this. This is going to be a great story. You know what I mean? It's like you make the best of stuff. When things go south, you make the best of it. You go, yep, it's going south. Well, okay, I can either sit here and piss and whine and moan and be in a horrible mood, or I can go, wow, this is going to make a great story, provided I actually survive, because we were like avoiding like billboards and trees, and it was just crazy. But anyway, but do you see where I'm going with that? So it's like you have a choice, and narcissists will always choose to make a drama out of it and always choose to find the dog shit in the world. They will. It's like people who've got it down can find the beauty in dog shit, but narcissists will manage to find dog shit in the beauty. Do you see where I'm going with that? So yeah, it's like you make the best of things. And when they ruin things, it's because they enjoy the drama and they want to be the murderer and dog face banana patch. Anyway, there that is. Okay. All right. My stepfather would say, I love you more than your brother. If you tell him why I do this, you will just hurt him. How fucked up is that? That's pretty fucked up. Okay. Hey, Eliza. It seems like he would spout evil until I cried, and then he felt some kind of relief when he made me cry. Yeah, they enjoy it. They're sadists. Absolutely. They get off on it. And then he would comfort me and be the hero. Yeah, that's what they do. They make you feel like shit, and then they're your comfort. You're not allowed to go to family and friends, but you have to go to them for comfort. So they are your torturer, just exactly like POW camps, guys. Just exactly like a cult. Exactly. They harm. Oh, come to me, baby. I'll make it all better. Yeah, that's what they do. It's brainwashing. So yeah, they make you associate them with comfort. Absolutely. And that's why they do it. Yep. Comfort me and things would be okay when I just did better. Yeah, it'll be better this time. If you were just the perfect cult member, if you were just the perfect girlfriend or boyfriend, if you were just the perfect yeah, that's exactly what cults do. That's exactly what brainwashers do. That's exactly what POW camps do. Oh my God, you start reading up on POW camps and you're like, holy shitballs, these were all run by narcissists. You bet. Because it's the playbook. Totally down the line. Doesn't matter what culture or where. It's the same abuse over and over again. Sleep deprivation, working to the bone, telling them they're not good enough, then comforting them, then going back to abusing them, then intermittent positive rewards. You bet. Absolutely. Okay. Okay. Can codependents be flying monkeys? Yes, they can. Anybody can be a flying monkey. You bet. Anybody who buys the bullshit of the abuser. Okay. All right. Okay. So to recap, the abuser tries to erase the target first and foremost. They get the target to agree with everything that the abuser believes in. So they get the target to give up their moral compass. They get the target to give up their true beliefs. They get the target to spout the rhetoric that the abuser has. And the target starts losing little bits and pieces of who they are, the things that are important to them. The abuser will take over hobbies and erase that. The abuser will then start in on the family and the friends that see the abuser for what they are and start, mocking them and putting them down. And why do you say that? That's exactly what so-and-so says. And that's stupid. You shouldn't say that. And then pretty soon the target of abuse is now abusing by proxy to the family and friends, telling them that what they are saying and doing is stupid and they shouldn't be saying this and blah, 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 blah. So the abuser is erasing the family and friends from the target's mind and trying to make the target believe that the family and the friends are bad, evil, wrong, don't have their best interests at heart, and that the abuser does. So they erase us, they erase our family and our friends. And when we get out, our mission is to refine ourselves. And then once we refine ourselves, our mission is to go make amends to the family and the friends that we threw under the bus for the abuser. That's how we get ourselves back. So, all right. Okay. I am starting to lose my voice. So I'm going to call an end to this for today. Thanks you guys for tuning in. Please share these videos as much as you possibly can. Go back and share the old ones, share the new ones, share the posts, share, educate. If you have family and friends that do not understand abuse, feel free to direct them to my videos, and have them ask questions because I'm happy to answer them. I will be in Atlanta on April 21st and 22nd. On April 21st, I will be at Postman Books and also Tall Tales. I will be sending books to them this week so that they can pre-sell. On the 21st, I will be doing a lecture in, Smyrna, Georgia, at the community center in Smyrna, Georgia. I do believe we are also having a VIP session that will include the lecture, and you can come meet and greet with me and chit chat, and we'll have coffee and I don't know what else, donuts, croissants, I'm easy, whatever. So, and we can chit chat for a while, and that would be great. So please do come see me at the book signings. I will have a chance to talk to you. That would be awesome. I love putting faces with names. Yes, I am probably going to hug you unless you warn me up front you don't want me to hug you, and then I'll probably just go, okay, fist bump. So, okay, so there that is. So go to Eventbrite, Atlanta, Chris Godinez. It will pop up all of the events. Please do kind of let us know where you're going, and you can get tickets on there and all of that sort of good stuff. And that is it. So I will be doing a question and answer period sometime this week when I have time, because I've been getting a lot of questions in. So I want to make sure to answer those questions. If you want to get a hold of me, you can go to Facebook. We Need to Talk with Chris Godinez on Facebook. You can IM me there. You can private message me on YouTube. You can leave questions in the comments, and I'll try to get to those. Feel free to ask questions during the live sessions. That would be great. That's it. I can't think of anything else. So you guys go have a great week, and I will talk to you later. Bye.